Hello, folks, and welcome back to yet another episode of Everyone's Entitled to One Good Scare, the Arkove's exclusive Halloween franchise podcast. We are the franchise deep dive people, the brothers Blanchard. I am one half of that equation. I am Matthew J. Blanchard. With me, as always, is my co-host,
Patrick J. Blanchard, the other half of that equation.
and we're the guys who deep dive on all these movies. We've done them all so far. We've done the big ones. We went through Camp Crystal Lake. We went through Nightmare on Elm Street. And here we are. It's Haddonfield. It's the horror capital of the 1980s and 90s.
Is it really, though?
And it should be.
I think it's the horror capital of 1978. And then
1988 and 1998.
Yeah.
It is the horror capital of years that end in 8.
Hey, you know what?
It's another year that ends in 8.
This is a year that ends in 8.
Frankly, this is why we're talking about it. It's the reason we're here. It's the reason for the season, as they say.
I wish one had come out in 2008, just to complete the 8s between then and now.
They could have probably spent another year working on Rob Zombie's H1, just tweaking it, getting it ready so it could be out in 2008. I think I'd been fine with that.
Yep.
Another year of editing.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Totally.
stop PJ Soulsing me.
Nope, I will always PJ Souls. Totally.
All right. So when last we were here, last episode, we were talking about good old Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the mask one, the unconnected movie.
The Meyerless one.
The Myersless one. Exactly. So we ended up, we were talking about sort of the, how best to phrase it, the long hiatus. And we talked specifically about the hiatus and sort of the mythology that has sprung up around it, coming out of the fact that Halloween 3 was a massive failure. And the reality being that it really wasn't.
No.
And the truth of the matter is that there were multiple attempts to get a Halloween 4 up and running well before we actually get to the Halloween 4 of 1988. Part of that is Mustafa Akkad is in a bit of a protracted legal wrangling, a couple of them actually, one with Universal and another with John Carpenter, who feels that the Universal deal, that there's some static overpayment for rights, and the
he also in Universal's eyes there were two underperformers that year.
Yes,
there was both, because 82 was Halloween 3 and The Thing.
And they both didn't do well financially.
Yeah.
Based on expectations. Halloween 3 actually did do well financially. The Thing I don't have actual numbers for, so I can't speak to it, but I suspect it made a return on its budget, just not as big as they'd hoped. Because I think, by and large, they expected that Halloween was an excuse to print money after Halloween's 1 and 2.
Yes.
Well, it's not. It's a movie. It's a fucking movie. It's a standard risk. So Carpenter felt he was owed a little bit of money from Mustafa, not from Universal. Universal felt that they had paid Mustafa enough money. There was wrangling over rights, and it held things up. But eventually, the rights reverted to Trancas International, which was Mustafa's company.
Yeah.
And Mustafa starts shopping around films that can, line the pockets and line the coffers of Trancas. And one such film is, of course, Halloween, because he knows he can market this and cash in. So, obviously, we're going to be making a Halloween 4. And we're gonna bring back everybody we can, and we're gonna bring back John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, and we're gonna do this for Canon International Films. Golden Globus themselves in 1986.
Ooh, okay. Because in my mind, I'm sitting there, but it was a Galaxy release.
It was a Galaxy release. But yeah, so no. We are talking about a film that never gets made. A film getting made in 1986, by the way, 2 years. Just 2 years before the collapse of Canon Films.
Yeah.
And Golden Globus. So they're looking for something that they can, make some fucking money off of, because they've got dud licenses that are not performing well. The best thing they have in their canon is Superman, because they own Superman's 3, and they're moving toward making Superman 4. Yeah. Which, guarantee you, they're not going to do well either. And Golden Globus / Canon International is going to go the fuck away. Like they got He-Man coming up. They got they got Superman 4. And in the midst of that is when they try to get the rights to Halloween.
Okay.
And they sidestep Mustafa and go straight to John. And John's like, hey, this is a win for everybody. Let's do this.
Well, of course they sidestep Mustafa.
Right.
He's not the known entity.
Exactly.
It's not Mustafa Akkad's Halloween.
It's
John Carpenter's Halloween.
Exactly. So John and Deborah pitched this movie, which we somewhat see thematically reappear in the franchise, but not nearly in the context that it's pitched here. And John doesn't actually write the script himself. He goes out to a writer who had written the novelization of Halloween's 2 and 3.
Yes.
And what was his name again?
It was Dennis Etchison.
Dennis Etchison, that's correct. And what they pitch is a movie where Haddonfield, Illinois, has outlawed the practice of Halloween. No masks, no candy, nothing. There's no trick-or-treating, there's no horror movies, none of it. And in this intense repression of all things terrifying and all things Michael Myers, the dam eventually bursts. And this sort of Michael, who's really more of a phantom than anything else. He's like an angry ghost. He's kind of like Victor Crowley, who we were just talking about a couple weeks ago.
And almost literally the boogeyman. Comes forth and starts tormenting both Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace, the survivor children of Halloween 1. Yep.
It sounds fucking amazing. It sounds like an interesting movie and an exploration of themes of repression and trauma, and then Mustafa Akkad fucking hates it and says, nope, not making that movie. Sorry, John. I own the controlling rights to this film. You own a little. Nope, not doing it.
This begins.
This is the end. This is the beginning of the end. Like John was using the legal system to get what John felt John was owed. But John was at no point like, fuck you, Mustafa, I don't like you. I'm out. I'm done. Until this deal sours.
Yes.
And then he's like, you know what? Lots of luck to everybody involved. That is literally the quote that he gives in multiple stories. Lots of luck, everyone. I'm out.
Stroke me my check.
I'm gone.
I will sell you my share.
Yep. And both he and Deborah Hill sell their share, sell their controlling interest, or not their controlling interest, show their interest, because Mustafa has controlling interest.
Yes.
In Halloween, and they walk. They're gone. It's over. And that process of divorcing John and Deborah from Halloween, and sort of kicking up the actual Halloween 4 that we know, that process kind of moves through 1987.
Yes.
And then Mustafa Akkad has complete control of Halloween. He knows what movie he wants to make. He starts reaching out to cast members, see if they want to come back. One says fuck no, and one says sure.
Yep.
You would think, given 1988, that it would definitely go exactly the way it went. Jamie Lee Curtis is going to say fuck you, no.
I mean,
I have a career.
Doesn't A Fish Called Wanda come out in 88?
Actually, I think A Fish Called Wanda came out in 87.
So
I think A Fish Called Wanda had already hit.
Okay.
And was part of the reason for the no. No, I was just in one of the most successful comedies of the last year, after having been in one of the most successful comedies of the previous 2 years. Sorry, I did Trading Places, I've done this. I have a real career, I'm not doing your horror movie. It says no. But the surprise is that Donald Pleasance says yes. And expresses, an eagerness to return to the role of Sam Loomis. I would not have guessed that. I wouldn't have guessed that in 1978. I wouldn't have guessed it in 1981. And I certainly wouldn't guess that he'd want to come back after John left. It seems, with his continued involvement with John Carpenter, that it was John that he enjoyed working with.
I mean, he'd even just done a movie with John Pryor in 87.
Yep.
Yeah. That's when Prince of Darkness came out. Mm-hmm. Which, if the internet is to be believed,
yes,
would have been Halloween 4.
Oh. Well, that's a different Halloween?
If
a different script, if you will?
Well, not this
or that would have been John.
Had the anthology idea worked. Oh. I've heard
gotcha.
and heard rumors and seen it, and it's on the IMDb page that's what
John wanted to be the follow-up to Halloween 3.
Yeah.
Had Halloween 3 not been viewed as a failure.
Exactly.
Okay. Now that's see, that would have... Yeah, that makes sense. Ongoing anthology, I think that would make perfect sense for the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Or for, the fifth one. It wouldn't have mattered where.
Yes.
But that would have fit in the anthology. So we have a Donald Pleasance on lock. Jamie Lee is not coming back. So once he's got that, Mustafa starts looking at, structuring the deal. He doesn't first look at, okay, let's get a story. Okay, let's find a director. Okay, let's do this. He starts looking, where are my tax breaks? Where can I shoot that's cheap?
Yes.
So the first thing that's locked down for the making of Halloween 4 is not the writer. It's not the director. It's not even Donald Pleasance. It's Salt Lake City, Utah.
And here's one of the things that I find interesting about the move to Salt Lake City. Deborah Hill, through multiple interviews while she was alive, has said that because of the money was so low, they could not go anywhere else but stay in L.A.
Right.
Now, 10 years later, in order to keep costs down, you have to leave L.A.
Out of L.A. Well, that's because in the sort of boom of suburban settings in films, towns start to realize that they can offer, tax incentives that enable a film company to shoot there cheaply and make a shitload of money off of them.
Yeah.
So towns start, doing that, and they start becoming a backbone. And it all really comes about because a lot of films start shooting in these sort of, suburban climates, and there's not enough of LA to go around.
Yeah.
There's not enough South Pasadenas to shoot in. So when Nightmare and when Nightmare and Halloween and another movie and another movie and another movie are all competing for the same space, they have to go somewhere else. And the other places that they went in the 83s, the 84s, the 85s, wise up. And they're like, oh shit, This production came to town. We made a shitload of money.
They were here for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
What if we had shows that were here every week? How could we get them to leave Hollywood to come here? We'll give them tax breaks.
Yeah.
And Salt Lake City dove in on that. Now, these days, it's even cheaper to go out of the country.
Yes.
And cross the border to Canada. Go to Vancouver.
If you really want to go cheap.
Actually, the very next year, that's how the Friday the 13th series is going to save money the same way.
Yes.
They're going to move to Vancouver.
Eventually, so does Halloween series.
Yep. Takes it a little bit longer.
Yes. And it's only for one brief foray.
It's only for one movie, and it doesn't happen until the 2000s. So yes, he has an agreement to shoot in Salt Lake City. He has an agreement for, and ironically, this is one he goes for pretty quickly. He has an agreement with Alan Howarth to do the score. He locks down music. He locks down locations. Then, and only then, does he start looking around for a writer. And he lands on a writer named Alan B. McElroy, who is a fan of the franchise.
Yes.
Who watches Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 and just breaks down everything about these movies into sort of a list, a running list, so he knows how to connect Halloween 4 to Halloween 1 and 2. And then starts writing a script that most heavily references 1, because he feels that there's certain logical elements in 2 that will make it hard to make a sequel. If you just don't talk about them, you're better off. The next step is to find a director. And Mustafa does. He finds Dwight H. Little, guy who'd done a lot of commercial work. And everybody's now getting ready to ramp up. Alan B. McElroy's deal inks right before the writer's strike of 1988.
Yes.
In fact, all of Halloween 4 is written in the 11 days between contract completion and the start of the strike. Just 11 days. Now, 1988, 1989 were the years of the horror movies. There was a Friday movie, a Nightmare movie, and a Halloween movie. Yep. All three. And all three were under the exact same gun of that writer's strike.
Yes.
Famously, Nightmare on Elm Street didn't have script in some places.
Yeah.
There was improv to fill in holes in the movie. Halloween got in right under the wire, and Friday the 13th came in early enough before the strike that it wasn't in real danger.
They'd actually finished shooting, I think, by the time the strike started.
It's ironic, though, that story-wise, I would say of those three, Halloween 4 is the better story.
Of the three, I'd say it's the most structured story.
Yep.
It does not seem like it was written in 11 days.
No, not at all.
I've read the shooting script.
Yeah.
There is a lot.
There's a lot
deservedly that does not make it onto screen.
Yes. Including some flashback scenes that would have explained how Dr. Loomis survived Halloween 2.
Yes. It was also determined they were going to shoot it.
Yeah.
But it was determined too costly.
Yep.
And then McElroy and Little said, the story doesn't need it.
Yeah, it didn't.
We'll just
accept that Loomis is alive, or you don't accept Loomis is alive. And if you don't accept Loomis is alive, you've already sat through 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
It's too late. It's too late.
We got your ducats.
We got your money. And if you walk away, okay, I got your money.
We got your ducats.
Thanks, though. And by and large, people accept the return of Sam Loomis pretty quickly. I mean, I do.
Yeah.
It's a welcome return. It's like, oh, Sam's alive. It's the last time you feel that way. I mean, I love Donald Pleasance's performance in these latter Halloweens. They're fun. They're off kilter. They're weird. But in Halloween 5, I'm not like, yay, Sam's back. In Halloween 6, I'm not like, yay, Sam's back. In those movies, it's more like, oh, well, here we go again.
Even when he's low key in 6, it's like, I'm confused.
Yep. So the team moves to Salt Lake City and gets rolling with this story that is unique in I think the pantheon of the big three.
Also, it's unique. Also, it's also a story.
I think the one that comes closest to the uniqueness of this comes after it, and it's not even technically a continuation of the mainline franchise. Dylan in Wes Craven's A New Nightmare is almost a protagonist.
Yes.
But even then, doesn't go full tilt boogie. It's still mostly Heather Langenkamp's film.
Yep.
Dylan's just sort of a side character who is with her. Where this, literally, the protagonist, the person in the most jeopardy the whole time, is a child.
It is.
It is a 10-year-old child.
And what I find really interesting is the story of our leads. Mm-hmm. Jamie Lloyd and Rachel Carruthers.
Yes.
Is a story of almost what if.
Yeah.
Because Jamie Lloyd is played by Danielle Harris.
Yes.
The person that she beat out for the role was Melissa Joan Hart.
I heard that.
And then Rachel Carruthers was almost somebody else because Ellie Cornell was up for Alice in Nightmare 4.
Interesting.
Nightmare 4 shot first. So, I mean, it started shooting first. So if she had been cast as Alice, we'd have had a different Rachel.
Right.
And I don't know who number 2 would have been. Like, I know who number 2 for Jamie is.
Yeah.
But we could have had a vastly different movie and don't know if it would have worked.
Right.
Because a lot of this movie rides heavily on Danielle Harris's shoulders.
And she rises to meet that challenge. This is now the third time we're talking about technically fourth time we're talking about Danielle Harris on our deep dive podcast. But this is technically the first time we should be talking. I mean, this is young Danielle Harris in not her first role, but damn near.
Well, it's her first
feature. Yep. Yeah. And she owns it, and she becomes sort of the heir apparent to she becomes the Scream Princess.
Our very own little Scream Princess.
Exactly. And she eventually takes her rightful place as a full-fledged Scream Queen.
Yeah.
But here, it's early days yet. So the film starts properly, and we'll move through this one, I suspect fairly quickly, because we know this one fairly well, folks. We start with what is a patient transfer from Ridgemont Federal Sanitarium and Prison to Smiths Grove Warren County Sanitarium. Two EMTs, it seems, show up at the gate to pick up Michael Myers and move him to Smiths Grove, where he came from, where it all started.
I get what may be one of my favorite characters.
Oh, yeah, the security guard with all the information, the expository security guard.
I call him Exposition Guard.
Oh, Exposition Guard is great. He does the best recap of Halloween's 1 and 2, anybody could ever give. Like, if people ask me, what are Halloween 1 and 2 about? I would just say, hold on a second, cue up Halloween 4 and be like, watch this scene. This guy's going to explain everything. It's done. We're over.
Great. In a few weeks.
Yeah.
Days. Sorry,
days.
This
few episodes.
This deep dive has just got me rolling.
Right.
Because it's just so much.
Well, yeah. There's so much going on, but
in a couple episodes, I'm going to talk about this guy again.
Yes.
Because there's something that's coming down the pike that's very, very similar, but nowhere near as good.
Oh. Yeah, no. Different kind of security guard altogether.
Exposition nurse.
Oh, exposition nurse. Not
as good as exposition guard.
Okay, gotcha. No, I was about to be like, are you talking about LL Cool J and H2O?
No.
Because that's a totally different character.
I'm talking about that one which I feel must not be named.
Right. Yeah.
But so great exposition guard.
Great exposition guard. He's good at the actor playing exposition guard shows up and is a good expository character.
In a bunch of stuff, yeah.
A lot. Most notably, to me, is an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where he shows up to give exposition to Giles about the demon Cathla that will suck Angel into hell in the finale of season 2. Spoilers for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, folks. But yeah, I love him when he shows up there. But so much so that sometimes when I'm watching Halloween 4, I'm like, "Are you Rupert Giles?" But the exposition he gives here is spot on. It's so well done. And then they just load Michael Myers onto a gurney, wheel him out in the rain, put him in the back of a ambulance and start driving away. And as they start driving away, the familiar Halloween theme starts, and you're like, "Uh-oh,
this is not good.
This is not good." We've got a female EMT and we've got a male EMT, and they're checking on Michael. They're taking vitals, stuff like that. And they start talking about what they've read in the file, and apparently his sister's dead. Poor Jamie Lee Curtis, as Laurie Strode, is dead. Died in a car crash. But she had a daughter. And when they say that...
Well, she's too young to be his legal ward.
Yep. As soon as they mention a living heir, if you will, to the Myers-Strode line, Michael's fingers start moving. He's awake, and it doesn't take long before the killing begins.
Nope.
He takes the male orderly dude and smashes his head against the wall. There's a lot of cranial trauma to both of them here. And then we sort of hard cut into effectively a dream sequence, where we see an ambulance in front of a house. And then a little girl wakes up screaming when the boogeyman shows up in her bedroom. This is our introduction to Jamie Lloyd, the daughter of Laurie Strode, who has been adopted by the Carruthers family. And we get the introduction of her adoptive sister, Rachel, and their dog, Sunday, which is a great dog. And we don't get to see Sunday again after this movie.
Michael has a thing for dogs, folks.
Michael has a thing for dogs. It starts with Lester in Halloween 1, so I blame John. I blame John Carpenter. He started this shit.
Yeah.
It's everybody else's fault that it continues. So we get this sort of intro of this scared kid who has a nightmare and ends up hiding in the closet. And then we go back to Ridgemont, where we hear we see this long tracking shot in this gleaming white corridor and this clicking sound. And we pan over, and there is Donald Pleasance as Sam Loomis walking down the halls with a cane. He's a man with a purpose. He's heading somewhere. And we circle back because to sign the paperwork to move Michael, Dr. Hoffman had to sign off on it.
Yes.
And he talked about Michael's doctor, Dr. Loomis. And he suggested that with Michael no longer at Ridgemont, his hopes for Sam's career were that he would either retire or die.
Yes.
So Sam, just now finding out about the transfer, bursts into Hoffman's office to yell at him. So there's an adversarial relationship to this. And it's, Hoffman! I love it. It's my favorite. This is the version of Sam Loomis I love the most. Hoffman! He's so fun.
I also love that Michael Pataki.
Yes, Michael Pataki as Hoffman.
Does not take crap off of Sam Loomis.
Not
either.
at all. Not at all.
Spare me your speech. I've heard it for a decade.
A decade. And then, while they're having the argument, the call comes in that the ambulance went off the road.
Well, it never made it to Smith's Grove.
Yeah, never made it to Smith's Grove, yes. They don't actually... It takes them a scene or two to get caught up and find it. But, yes. Sam immediately is like, yeah, this is Michael. I told you.
Loomis! Loomis!
Loomis! Loomis! And so Loomis lights off to go find out what the fuck happened.
And apparently,
Hoffman goes with him.
Yes.
I mean, Hoffman...
We don't see Hoffman leave.
No, but we see Hoffman and Loomis both arrive at the crash site.
Yes.
How many in the bus?
Before the crash, we get the family breakfast where we find out a little bit more about the Carruthers family with their new young foster daughter, Jamie.
And
Rachel's...
They have a Halloween party they got to go to. It's important.
It's important.
It's important to Mr. Carruthers' career. So
Mr. Carruthers, who I believe may be the most hapless adult male figure in the Halloween series.
John Strode in number 1.
I don't think... Oh, well, I don't know.
I mean, he doesn't do much.
I mean, he didn't get his tie... He didn't dip his tie in coffee.
He didn't. That's true.
But
still.
A babysitter is supposed to come tonight so that while the Carruthers are off schmoozing for this job, Jamie's taken care of. But she broke her ankle ice skating.
Yep. So Rachel has to do it.
And Rachel does not want to do this.
Because Rachel has a date.
Rachel's a bit of a prat.
She is. She is. And it's important to her that she go on this date with Brady. Because if she doesn't go on this date with Brady, her world will end. And you know, she's a melodramatic high school girl, and that's fine.
It's refreshing.
It is, actually. Given Halloween 2, it really is. So yeah, there's a bit of a tussle, a bit of an argument, because Rachel really doesn't want to do this. And Jamie overhears it, and, you know, she gets upset because she doesn't want to be a burden.
And Dad plays the guilt card.
Right.
And suddenly they're going for ice cream, double scoops. And Jamie, and this is just important, she doesn't want to do Halloween. She doesn't want to go trick-or-treating.
She does not want to. And it's not really discussed as to why she doesn't want to, but... We know that it's only been a year since her mom died.
Yes.
And I guarantee you, in the first 9 years of this little girl's life, Laurie Strode did not do Halloween. I do not think that Laurie Strode was like, yeah, let's put on a costume, Jamie. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I don't see that. It's while we've got the Laurie Strode of it all. This is the first time we deal with the aftermath of Halloween on Laurie, inadvertently.
Yeah.
And it'll go away at some point. We'll deal with it directly. So as of right now we are in the only timeline. Let's look at it that way. But just be prepared for everything you love about these movies to go away. Because it's going to go away soon.
No, it doesn't go away.
It's going to go away.
I mean,
it's going to go away.
Nobody came into my house and took my tape or DVD or Blu-ray. I still have them. They're still there.
Right. So Rachel agrees to, take Jamie out for ice cream after school. And then we see that the ambulance has definitely crashed.
Yes.
And bodies are everywhere.
It's upside down in water. Like
how many in the bus?
Tell me, how many in the bus?
4 plus Myers.
I don't know. The bodies are all chewed up.
So there's so many bodies. They're going to be sifting through it for a while. They're not sure that Michael was in there.
One person investigating the scene says he's seen bodies thrown 50, 60 feet.
Sam, however, is convinced that Michael Myers was not in the fucking ambulance and that he is on his way to Haddonfield.
With a great line. Call me at Haddonfield Sheriff's, because if you haven't found him in 4 hours, I will.
I know I will. Yes. So Sam gets in the car and starts driving to Haddonfield. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Which leads to 1980s action scene in a horror movie.
Yes. All right, so so we go to this diner in the middle of nowhere.
It's a diner, service station, gas station, the whole 9 yards.
It's a service station diner. It's really nice. We get our Michael is all bandaged up still. And he has made his way to this filling station.
Still in hospital gown.
Still in hospital gown. So, of course, Michael needs some clothes.
He totally needs a mechanic's coverall.
Exactly. So, let's send him to this filling station, right?
Yeah.
He'll kill the guy in the filling station.
Yes.
And he does. He gets what looks like a giant crowbar. Like one of those big, I don't know. It's a big metal pole.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it, but it looks like a crowbar. It's not. And he stabs the guy with it.
Like you do.
Like you do.
When you need a suit.
And you're like, oh, okay, cool. So Michael's got clothes and he can do his thing. That was unnecessary. Like, we didn't see him kill the guy to take the clothes in number 1. That wasn't. Oh, there's a car pulling up. Oh, it's Sam.
Yep.
Ooh, we're gonna get a.
Did they bring Sam back this early just to kill him?
Just to kill him? Oh my God, that'd be amazing. But no. So Sam goes into the diner part, and this is the weirdest laid out diner I think I've ever seen. Because there's like 85 portraits of Abraham Lincoln. Like everywhere. I know it's supposed to be in Illinois.
Well, they love him there.
It's the land of Lincoln. I know. I've been to Illinois recently. I spent a weekend in Chicago. You know what I didn't see everywhere? Photos of fucking Abraham Lincoln.
What did you go out into the wilds?
Yes.
Into the
Oh, into the middle of nowhere, Illinois, where they apparently don't have news that he's been dead for 150 years?
Yes.
Sure, no, I didn't.
I mean, see, that's where they're keeping all these portraits of Lincoln.
Right. These portraits, all these photographs. Lincoln just posed for all these photographs, and they put them everywhere.
I mean, not every state can be the mother of presidents like the Old Dominion.
Well, hey.
I mean, they get Lincoln. We had Washington and Jefferson and Monroe and James Madison.
Right. Yes, certainly. But
Woodrow Wilson.
Right. What we wouldn't do, however, is put just pictures of George Washington on every surface of a room. Multiple places. It's an odd piece of production design. So Sam comes in and he wants to use the phone. And he comes in and he finds a dead waitress And he looks into the kitchen, and standing in the kitchen is Michael Myers.
Yep.
Still with a bandage instead of his classic Myers mask, because he didn't have one yet.
But still whited out.
Still whited out, and still very much Michael. And we get this great rack focus shot where the background behind Michael gets blown out, and we zoom in on him. It's one of my favorite shots.
Yeah.
Like I as an action shot, I would love to use it in something. Like it's a really evocative image. And Sam shoots at him, pulls his gun, starts firing. And as the music of the Halloween theme kicks on, and we cut back to Michael, and he's gone. Sam goes running after, and there's Michael very quickly, by the way, because apparently he can kind of teleport. I mean, he's no Jason, but he can move fast now.
He's like Usain Bolt fast.
Yes. So Sam comes rushing out of the front door just in time for Michael to burst through the garage door
In a tow truck.
in a wrecker.
Yeah.
And Sam starts shooting at it. The hook of the wrecker is swinging, and it managed to catch a gas tank and spark, and creating this massive explosion that brings down power lines, sends Sam flying, and fucks up Sam's car. So now Sam
He's going to have to hoof it.
He's going to have to hoof it to Haddonfield. Now, let's go back to Haddonfield. What's going on there? Just a bunch of little kids teasing each other.
Jamie's uncle's the boogeyman.
Jamie's an orphan. Jamie's an orphan. Like, these kids are fucking cruel.
Jamie's mommy's a mummy.
Right, like, I remember being a cruel child, but I don't think I ever... This feels much. This feels over the top. For children of the time.
Yes.
Because, I mean, she's supposed to be like 10 in 88.
She's
Or is she like 8?
She's supposed to be 8.
So she's supposed to be my age.
Yes.
Basically.
So it's totally up in the 3rd grade.
This seems over the top. For my generation, this seems over the top.
And
just saying.
She's like the only kid not in costume.
Right.
Because, to be honest, Jamie's uncle's the boogeyman.
Right. I mean, and there are kids in, like, Mask costumes. Mask was a cartoon show in the 80s.
Slash toys.
About flying cars and flying boats. The vehicles that could transform into other vehicles. So it wasn't like Transformers. It wasn't cool like that.
No.
It was like Transformers if they were driven by G.I. Joes and weren't conscious themselves.
Yep.
Yeah. 80s were weird, man. All right. So yeah, Jamie's, getting chased by her fellow schoolmates who are mocking her for having a dead mother and a psychopath for an uncle. Sounds fun.
So she runs and hides behind a tree.
Yep. Until a car pulls up to collect her. This car features has her sister in it, Rachel Carruthers, and it is being driven by a young lady named Lindsay.
You remember Lindsay, don't you?
You remember Lindsay, don't you?
Wink, wink. Wink, wink.
It is not officially established, but it was intended to be in the script. That's Lindsay Wallace.
Yes.
Survivor of Halloween. Who also ran into Michael Myers as a child. She's got a lot in common with this little girl.
Yes.
She doesn't know it yet. And Jamie's kind of tormented by the idea of Halloween and blah, blah, blah. And she decides that she'd rather go get a costume, do the Halloween thing instead of ice cream. Okay, maybe in addition to ice cream. She's no dummy.
Can we get ice cream after? I mean, I understand. I was 8 years old once. I understand. I'm 3 years old, and
right.
So I'll go get a costume and get ice cream afterwards.
Shit, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't eat ice cream anymore routinely, but yeah, I'm with you. So, yeah. So they head to Vincent's drugstore to go get a Halloween costume for Jamie.
Because they have the best in town.
They have the best in town. It's also where Rachel's boyfriend works. Brady.
Yep. There's some interplay between Rachel and Lindsay on the way there.
Right.
About how she doesn't want to seem desperate, blah, blah, blah. Typical teenager stuff, written well.
Yeah.
I totally buy it.
Yeah. It's almost as good as the teenager stuff in Halloween 1, to be honest with you. It's refreshing. However, when you look at it from the perspective of the franchise, this is the first time we're seeing teenagers since the first time we saw teenagers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's an immediate follow-up, and the teenage dialogue is great. It's not like there was a lapse in good teenage dialogue, because we went literally from the teens in Halloween 1 to a hospital EMT unit to a weird movie that had nothing to do with the other movie that was about a dude who was in his 40s hooking up with a chick in her 20s.
Well, that's not what the movie was about.
That's what the movie was about.
No, it's not. No, you go listen to what we talked about.
By and large, what the movie was about, and a creepy revenge mysticism plot of an Irish mask maker. Sorry. It sounds the more you describe Halloween 3, the more odd it sounds. But what it is refreshing is it's better than some of the teenage stuff in the Nightmare movies, and it is leaps and bounds above the teenage writing in the Friday movies.
Yeah.
Which have dominated the era since Halloween 1 to now.
Yes.
Nightmare does pretty good most of the time. Or at least it did for those first 2 or 3 movies.
Yeah.
It gets a little strained. Ironically, in the year that this one happens, there is the most realistic teenage interaction, because it's actually teenagers interacting.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a script because of the writer's strike.
Yes.
But Halloween 4 was scripted, and it was scripted well. So they go and they go looking for Halloween costumes. It's great. But before we go inside, let's go check back in on Sam Loomis, who is hitchhiking to Haddonfield, Illinois. A group of football players
with some
cheerleaders
in a convertible.
They pull up like they're going to help this man, and then they spin out and kick dust up in his face and roll away. And that is when the car happens. And this has always been the most fascinating part of the movie to me. I want to tell the other story. I've desperately wanted to make the movie that is the flip side of this fucking coin. Problem is, I don't own the rights, and the actor is dead.
Yes.
But this old truck pulls up, and an elderly priest, in priest outfit, he's a reverend, offers to give Sam a ride. And this is Reverend Jackson P. Sayer, who is a very curious individual indeed. And he and Sam have a unique conversation about evil and the nature of evil and hunting evil and stopping evil. And you get the impression that either A, this man is shit fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Or he's in the middle of his own fucking horror movie.
Yes.
And I've always wondered what kind of movie Jackson P. Sayer is in. Because he is as kooky as Sam is. And he seems kooky out of context. But you know what? I think if you're watching a movie in which Jackson P. Sayer makes sense, Sam Loomis feels out of context.
I concur.
So I would love to see this. I would love to see this movie, but I don't think it could be done. I really wish somebody had done this while the actor was still alive, because nothing brings a smile to my face in this movie more than the appearance of Jackson P. Sayer.
Get in, old man. I love that he calls Loomis old man.
Oh, you're hunting it, are you? I saw it on your face, as clear as the dust. You know, I mean, it's so fucking good. I love this. I love it. I love Halloween 4. It holds up so well. I have fun watching this movie. So he gives them a ride to Haddonfield. They sing old hymnals. It's great. It's fun. It doesn't belong in the rest of the movie, but it's too good not to have. Like, I want to reach out to Alan B. McElroy and we're like, were you planning something? Did you have another script that involved Jackson P. Sayer? And was this a character you invented for something else? And you were like, he's too good to give up.
Well, no.
And he put him in a Halloween movie?
But if you listen to, and I highly recommend to everybody else, listening to his commentary on Halloween 4, he talks about Reverend Sayer and how he's always wanted to tell his story.
Oh, see, I've never actually listened to that. I've never listened to that particular commentary track. Was he as intrigued by his own creation as I am?
Yes.
Oh, God.
And his
Alan B. McElroy, Can I write this movie with you?
He had.
Can we co-author this?
He had an idea.
We'll recast Sam Loomis.
He had an idea of where as he put it, his idea was along the way. Reverend Sawyer has come into his own Sayer. Sorry, has come into his own contact with the Shape, not necessarily Michael Myers.
What?
Michael Myers is not the only the Shape out there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Like they're all some sort of interconnected chthonic creature.
Well, maybe not like that, but
yeah. Still,
but
that'd be kind of cool too.
Yeah, but that's the way he put it. He's like, somewhere along the line, he had his contact with the Shape,
but not necessarily Michael Myers. I
Yeah.
like that. That's a neat touch. I don't know that I'd do that, but I'm not pitching a Reverend Sayer movie right now. We're moving through Halloween 4.
Unless there are any producers who happen to be listening to this
and want to hear my pitch about a Jackson P. Sayer movie, I have one. I'll send it to you. Just ask.
So send us some fan mail.
Yeah, sure. With money involved, or you don't get to see my pitch for a Jackson P. Sayer movie. Okay, so back in Haddonfield, we arrive at Vincent Drugs. We go on inside. Brady is stocking some shelves with the other hot employee of the drugstore, Kelly. And then his girlfriend shows up.
Yep.
And interrupts. And has her little sister with her, and comes up and says, I can't go on our date tonight. And he's like, well, shit.
He's also like, you can see it. I don't know if it's scripted and directed this way, but
it's definitely, you can see on his face, I'm not getting laid tonight.
Not only that, you see just the exasperation. Look, we were in school together
all day
for 6 hours.
You're telling me this now?
You couldn't tell me this now.
Yeah. Oh, it's well played.
Yes.
Now, Brady is an actor you have seen before. If you're unfamiliar, go and watch him in his superior performance in Dazed and Confused. But he's great in this.
Yes.
So it's an interesting experience, and they're having a teenage argument while little Jamie Lloyd's off looking for a Halloween costume. And what she picks up is a clown costume.
No.
A clown costume.
No. I've seen Halloween.
And
no.
She holds it up in front of herself. She looks in the mirror, and the image in the mirror shifts, and it's not her. It's a 10-year-old boy.
No.
And then she looks up, and there's a mask behind her, a white mask, on a a little thing hanging on a hook, and a hand reaches down and grabs that mask, and rips it up and pulls it on his head.
Oh my God, it's the Nightmare Man.
It's Michael Myers. Back in his mask. Why would you sell this mask at Vincent's Drug in Haddonfield? This is... If anybody knows what mask Michael Myers wore in 1978, it is the fucking town of Haddonfield. Do you just keep one handy? Like, oh, we'll be the store he steals it from this Halloween. Well, Michael Myers stole our Michael Myers mask.
My theory on that is the town actually doesn't know. It's just Sam Loomis who knows, because everybody else who saw it is dead, and the mask burnt up.
It's true, I'll grant you. But there were other people who saw Michael Myers that night. So there are other people who saw Ben Tramer and the mask he was wearing, and could describe to an audience what was being worn, or describe to the paper. I suspect someone described it to the paper. Possibly even Laurie Strode herself, or Jimmy. Someone. So there's no reason to think that Haddonfield stores would still carry the Michael Myers mask.
That Jimmy guy never saw Michael Myers.
I'm just saying, people don't sell BTK killer costumes. People don't sell Jeffrey Dahmer costumes. It's real. It's real shit. So Haddonfield's a little crass. That's all I'm saying. But so yeah, it's the Nightmare Man, and she jumps back and she breaks she knocks shit over and breaks a mirror. Everybody comes running over, and the Nightmare Man is gone. Because he's Michael Myers, and that's what he fucking does. He's just gone.
And then everybody assumes she saw a mask in the mirror reflection and scared herself.
Right. Not that she saw Michael Myers, because why would you think it was Michael Myers? And to be honest, it's shot in such a way that it's meant to make the audience question whether he was really there at all.
Yes.
Because this is almost the same shot as when she had the dream earlier.
Yes.
Except, of course, there's a shot of the tow truck.
Outside. On the street.
Yep. It's real. He's really there. Loomis shows up. And Loomis is like, hey, Sheriff, I want to talk to Sheriff Brackett.
Well, you're going to have to go south about 3,000 miles. Sheriff Brackett retired to St. Petersburg back in, 80-something.
80-something. So he gets introduced to the new sheriff, Ben Meeker.
Big Ben.
Bo Star, who is a standout performance in this movie. Is a hindrance to the next movie.
Yes.
Ben Meeker. Great performance by Bo Star. Who knows exactly who Sam Loomis is, knows what he's peddling, knows what's going on.
Doesn't really want anything to do with his shit.
Fucking anything to do with him, but recognizes that, all right, well, if you're right, let's figure this out.
If you're right, we're on this crazy train.
Exactly. So they go off to, figure some shit out and try to track down Jamie Lloyd, basically. Who goes out trick-or-treating with Rachel. There's some family stuff, and everybody goes their separate ways, and there's some time. But eventually, they do go out trick-or-treating, and they meet up with friends. Friends being the same kids who were making fun of being an orphan. And they go trick-or-treating together, and everything's great, and blah, blah, blah. It's a good time. Halloween, yeah, all the good stuff. While they're out trick-or-treating, they walk up to a house. They ring the door, and who should answer but Kelly. But Kelly Meeker. Kelly Meeker, wait. Oh, she must be the daughter of the sheriff. That's why she has that shirt that says, "Cops do it by the book." Got it. And then Brady pops out in the background. And Rachel's pretty quick. She puts together really quickly that there's a reason that Brady's in the house and Kelly has no pants on. Why is Kelly giving out candy with no pants on? She's a little too comfortable. I'm sorry. She's a little too comfortable. And a little too familiar with the children of Haddonfield. So put some pants on. Or don't give out candy. Turn your light off. Shut your door. It's fine. It's fine. Do you, man. Just don't. My kid doesn't need to see that. I mean, I'm not a prude, but, these are children.
In the flare up there, because Brady comes out and there's a flare up between him and Rachel. And what's more important, and not that there is a flare up, is that teenage emotions have taken over, and Jamie has gone off with her friends.
And now Rachel has to go looking for Jamie. Right. So now we get to this point where multiple people are out looking for Jamie Lloyd.
Yes.
Sam Loomis is looking for Jamie. Rachel's looking for Jamie. And Ben Meeker's looking for... Well, Ben and Sam are together. But most importantly, Michael Myers is looking for Jamie Lloyd.
Before Sheriff Meeker and Sam left the police station, they left orders to call it into the news stations and get things closed early.
Exactly. So the police institute a curfew, and the word gets out to the parents because they show up and frantically collect their children. They're like, Michael Myers, nuh-uh. Not on my watch.
But before we get to see that,
we need an inciting incident to ramp up the panic. And what can do that better than a power outage?
Exactly.
See now, okay. So what Michael's going to do is he's going to rip off Jason, right? He's just going to throw somebody into a wall, like he's going to throw somebody into a fuse box, right?
No, this is 1988, sir.
Right.
We have to go bigger and better.
How do you go bigger than that?
I'm going to throw somebody into a power substation.
But that's so much bigger and badder than Jason. That's why Michael does it. Because it's bigger. It's badder than Jason. And who is he going to do it to? Bucky! That's right, Bucky.
Don't try that Halloween shit with me.
Bucky, the no-nonsense electrician, who looks an awful lot like John Carpenter and has no fucking time for this Michael Myers bullshit. I believe he's the first person to use the phrase Michael Myers bullshit. He's not the last. He gets thrown very far into this power substation, and takes out the power for the whole town.
We've got bar patrons who are calling into the police station because they've heard the curfew,
and the power went out,
and they want to know what's up.
So they get together. They get a posse together, and they're gonna go we're gonna go to the sheriff's station.
Phone don't ring in a police station.
No way, no how. Meanwhile, Rachel has found Jamie. And shortly after Rachel finds Jamie, so does Sheriff Meeker.
And Loomis.
And so does Michael Myers. And Michael Myers. And Michael Myers. And Michael Myers? There's 4 fucking Michael Myerses. What?
And Sam, being Sam Loomis,
pulls a fucking gun
and is going to shoot them.
Haha, fooled you!
Now, I've heard a great fan theory about the 3 fake Myerses.
Yeah.
While 10 years ago, they approached the Myers house.
Oh, that's genius. Oh my God, that's fucking genius.
Lonnie
that those
Elin.
3 kids are Lonnie Elin.
Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
And his friends who attacked Tommy Doyle.
Yes.
That's genius.
That is the best fan theory I have seen.
You know what? As headcanons go, I'm going with that.
Yes.
That's perfect.
I have not brought that up in conversation with you. I've been
saving it for tonight.
I have been sitting on that for 3 months.
That's genius. God, I love that. I really do. That's awesome. So yeah, Sam overreacts, but it's okay because they're not really Michael Myerses, and they rip off their helmets and they get in their car and they drive away. And then out of the shadows steps one of the Michael Myerses, and oh wait, it is Michael Myers.
Yes.
I specifically said there were 4 Michael Myerses because one of them really was.
Yeah.
And this is as good a point as any to talk about the mask situation. It will come up again. But this is the first opportunity I'm going to have to bring up the mask situation. Because you will notice, as you watch this movie, the mask does not look quite right. But the mask changes throughout the film. Because the producers keep tweaking it. And the mask is provided by Don Post Studios, who provided the mask for Halloween 2, based off of their mold for the William Shatner mask.
Yep.
And they did cast the mask for Halloween 4 based off of the original mold, which had been cast and cast and cast and cast. And was apparently experiencing a little buildup. So it didn't quite have all the features that it once had. Because it was, the mold itself was in need of a refresh.
Also, somehow, Tommy Lee Wallace, when he was painting it fish belly white,
right,
he used spray paint or something in such a manner that nobody's been fully able to replicate on film.
Right.
When people try, like they do in this movie, they completely wash out the mold, creating one level of white.
Exactly. But what they did is the Don Post made about 15 and sent them on. And each of those was adjusted one by one. And there's a great story about people pulling them out and being like, this is pink with white hair. Well, yeah, because that's what it looked like before. That's the Shatner mask.
Yes, that's the Kirk.
That's the Kirk, exactly. Which, by the way, we will reference again because there's a shot later in the movie
where visibly they're using one of those masks.
They're visibly using one of those masks, and ironically, it looks the most like William Shatner. But at various points, they were modifying the beauty masks. So it never quite looked right. It had been washed out. But you notice, when you're watching the scene with the multiple Michael Myers, some of those masks look closer to the real thing from Halloween 1 and 2. Because they haven't been altered as much as the one that George Wilbur has on. Yeah. George Wilbur, by the way, who is the second stuntman in this movie to play Michael Myers. The first one being Tom Morga. Tom Morga played him in a handful of scenes. And he was fired because of a dispute with the producers. And a little bit of what that's about is about the mask. Do you know this one?
No, I haven't heard this one about.
Okay, well, this one's an interesting anecdote. And this is our mask section. It just kind of makes sense because there's 4 masks on screen. They were constantly updating it, constantly painting it, constantly trying to do whatever they could to make it look like it was supposed to, and nobody could figure out why. Mostly because nobody knew what fucking Tommy Lee Wallace had actually done. And when they remade the new masks for Halloween 2 were cast, Tommy Lee Wallace was available.
Yes.
And told people what to do and helped. He was the production designer of both movies. I'm sure he didn't paint all the masks himself, but he knew what he'd done and he directed people to do the same, and he wasn't involved in this movie at all. So people were constantly like, oh no, make the eyes bigger. No, do this. No, do this. So one night, while they're filming a Tom Morga scene, the producer, not the director, the producer, informed them to cut the eye holes bigger and re-glue because there's a screen over the eye so you can't see the actor's eye. It's just a black screen.
Yeah.
And the makeup guy said, no, I can't do that because the glue won't set, and he'll put it on and he'll pass the fuck out. So they go to Tom Morga, who at this point is still Michael, and is like, this guy says he's not going to do it, so we're going to fire him. And Tom Morgan's like, no, he's absolutely right, and I don't want to fucking pass out. So they scrap that night's shooting because they don't have a mask that's viable. And they lose a whole night. At the end of, they lose a whole night of Michael.
Right.
That they can't shoot. But they shoot other stuff with the rest of the cast, and they come back, and they fire that dude on the fucking spot at the end of the night. They're like, you're fired. You wasted our time tonight. And they can do that.
Yes.
But what they forgot about is that on set that day was a writer for Fangoria.
Okay.
And the writer for Fangoria went to the producers. He went to Mustafa.
Right.
And was like, Fangoria will not provide you with any free advertising for your movie unless you rehire this makeup technician. So they did. They were like, all right, that's fine. But at no point had anybody made a deal to protect Tom Morga. And Tom Morga was, according to various sources, a little difficult to work with, a little finicky.
Okay.
And this was not the first time he had kind of stepped up to a producer. So they fired him. Next day, George Wilbur's hired. Movie changes completely. And then Tom Morga goes off and does other movies.
Yes.
So it works out. But that is part of the story. Apparently there's more to it on the Tom Morga side. But that is a part of the story as to why Tom Morga got fired from Halloween 4. So we've got Jamie Lloyd in the car. So we're going to take Jamie Lloyd to the police station. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to protect her there. We go to the police station. Holy shit, the police station has been attacked by Michael Myers.
I know this is real. This is like one of the few times that I have problems with Ben Meeker.
Yeah.
Because we got it. It's urgent. We have to protect these two girls. We got to get these two girls. Michael Myers is on the loose.
Leaves the two girls in the fucking car to go into the police station.
Boom.
Yes. I'm with you. And he goes into the police station and all these bodies, and you only ever see one. And if you look real closely too, and we had a little bit of a talk about this when we were doing number 2. And there are people on the internet who say that there are 4 bodies in this police station. Not in this shot, there's not. There's one dude whose arm is ripped off. You can see his foot. You can see his hand. You can see his head. You can see the other guy's arm behind him in the background. There are 2 people in that shot. That's it. I refuse to say that there are 4 people dead. I don't see them.
I don't see them. However, I do know that when he left...
There were 4 cops when he left.
Yeah.
One of them was him. One of them was Deputy Logan. That leaves 2 other people. There were 4 actors in that scene other than...
I thought Logan was already out and there was 3 other... There were 4 backgrounds plus
when
Meeker.
Sam showed up, there were 4. One of them was Logan.
Okay.
So that means there's only other 2. And they're the dead guys. I mean, the math just adds up. Now, when they get to the police station and the dead bodies are there, Logan's gone because Logan survives. So they step back out of the police station where all the police are dead, and that's when the drunk hillbillies show up.
Yep.
And rather than keep things contained, Sam Loomis just ramps them up. He tells them exactly what happened, that Michael Myers did this, he killed all the police. And Ben Meeker's like, you just made a lynch mob.
You haven't got a police force!
Yep. So yeah, the
Logan calls in. They're gonna go meet at Meeker's.
They're gonna go to Meeker's. They're gonna hole up there because Meeker has a shortwave radio. He can call the state police. And they can hole up there until backup arrives. Meanwhile,
Michael gets in the deputy's car.
Yes.
Unbeknownst to the deputy.
Right.
I just love it.
Yes. It's very subtle too. It's really good.
We got the beer bellies running
around.
The
beer bellies. The hillbillies are wandering around trying to be the police, and they see Earl and his group see someone off in the distance that they assume is Michael Myers, so they just open fire. And it turns out it's not. It's Ted Hollister.
See, I
love that it's just, damn it, Earl. It's Ted Hollister.
Well, this also changed from the script.
Yeah.
Originally, it was just poor Ted Hollister's dog.
Oh, okay.
But they needed some gravitas.
Oh. And I would almost feel better had it remained poor Ted Hollister's dog.
However, I do like that Loomis's predictions from Halloween have now come true.
Yes.
They'll see him on every street corner.
They'll look for him in every house. Yes, indeed.
And boom. Yes. Yeah.
So Meeker, Loomis, Rachel, and Jamie arrive at Meeker's house and interrupt Brady and Kelly, who are about to get groiny once again. Logan shows up. Everybody starts working on securing the house.
Yes.
There's a great moment where Brady is threatened by Meeker, who is no idiot and knew what exactly was going on in his fucking house.
And Bo Star's like a tall dude.
And
massive.
Somewhat terrifying. And he gets on the radio and he calls the state police and everything's cool. Loomis leaves to go back to the Carruthers house in case Michael goes back there. And several minutes after that, Meeker leaves to go police the hillbillies so that Haddonfield doesn't rip itself apart. Rachel and Kelly have a bit of a snide moment with each other in the kitchen about Brady. Kelly gets some coffee thrown on her, but it never actually lands on her because it's an empty cup. There's 80-yard sound, but there's no actual splash. Logan gets killed off screen. Surprise, surprise. Kelly brings Logan some coffee. And he's rocking in the rocking chair with the shotgun that he was holding because he's guarding the door. She lights a candle, and that's when we reveal that Logan's dead.
She sees the Logan dead, twisted body.
Yeah, I think it's a little less graphic. Watching it on a 4K TV with the up-res, he's really just got his hand next to his face like this, and there's blood on him. It's far less graphic than you think it is. Yeah.
Well, then I watched
4K TV really ruins shit.
I watched it at 1080p, and I know what it is. I can see it, but the illusion is sold for me.
Right. The color depth is different between the two. So, blacks are deeper, so there's different gradations of them. So the shadows can kind of get blown out a little bit. It can ruin some illusions. I'm not saying don't get a 4K TV, folks. I'm just saying be aware. All right, so yeah, Logan's dead.
Kelly knows this.
Kelly sees this. Michael steps up out of the rocking chair, walks toward her, and literally impales her with the shotgun through a door.
Yes,
and leaves her hanging. It's like the level up of the Bob kill from Halloween 1. Yes. Everybody starts panicking, getting together, blah, blah, blah. Rachel's looking for assistance. She meets up with Brady. Jamie's still upstairs. They go to leave, and the door's locked. And Brady tries to shoot the lock?
Yes.
Which makes no sense, but okay. Because there are no keys.
Yes.
Because it's deadbolted from the inside. So he tries to shoot the lock, blows the lock off, realizes, and this is, of course, the quote, it's metal, God damn it, it's metal.
What does that mean?
We're trapped in this house.
And you can see it. This door is like reinforced. There's reinforced sheet metal in the middle.
Steel in the middle of it. So he cannot get to the mechanism to open the door. So they're going to have to get out a different way, and they've secured the house. And as they're about to run upstairs, that's when Michael shows up. So Brady, with a shotgun, has to play for time and gets into a fight with Michael Myers.
If he hadn't shot the door, he could have shot Michael. Yeah.
But you know that shooting Michael doesn't do anything. Brady gets his neck snapped in a gruesome looking, but not necessarily all that gruesome neck snap face manipulation. Rachel and Jamie go up and escape to the roof.
Yep.
And Michael follows them, and then there's a harrowing chase on the roof. They tie the cable, like the television cable, around Jamie and lower her down. And then and Rachel falls off the roof. And Jamie gets down and sees that Rachel is
on the ground,
seemingly dead, and says, "Come alive, Rachel.
Come alive." This poor kid.
This absolute poor kid. And it looks like she's down for the count. It looks like we've lost Rachel Carruthers.
Yes. Jamie takes off.
Jamie takes off running, and oh God, where's she gonna go? And she runs into a person, but it's okay. It's Sam Loomis, who takes her to the schoolhouse where she'll be safe.
You don't.
And her immediate response is, "You don't really believe that, do you?" And he's like, "No." Well, like, Loomis is despairing in this situation just as much as the kid is.
Like, we'll be safe. We'll be safe till everybody arrives. You don't believe that, do you?
No.
Like, Loomis knows. Like, one of us isn't making it out of here.
And he presumes probably both. So they go to the schoolhouse, and that's when we get this pink Michael Myers, because it's actually the William Shatner mask for once. We assumed for years that it was a lighting mistake or something. Until finally I read this story about these masks that were delivered unaltered, and it was like, that makes sense.
There's a lot. That was one of the things that they were shooting late at night, and they missed.
Yes.
Like, there's an entire outdoor sequence. One of the outdoor sequences with Loomis.
Yep.
Where they shot like for hours and looked and reviewed everything, and Donald Pleasance had forgotten to take off his knit hat because it was fucking cold.
Right. Well, so a lot of Loomis stuff ended up getting reshot because they redesigned the makeup effect.
Well, that too. But this one, they had already redesigned the makeup because it's the new makeup.
Yeah.
But he had his bowler cap on, and he forgot to take it off because it's cold and he's an old man. He wanted his head warm. Yep. And nobody caught it for 4 hours of filming.
Yep. Real attentive crew. So Sam and Jamie run into Michael. Sam gets,
tossed through a door.
And then, out of nowhere, big damn hero,
Rachel to the rescue.
Rachel shows up with a fire extinguisher.
She's not dead.
She's not dead. And she saves Jamie, and they leave the schoolhouse, where they run into the hillbillies. And they get into the hillbillies' truck, and the hillbilly convoy is leaving town. They're going to the police substation outside of Haddonfield.
Yes. Finally, someone has convinced Earl, no.
We're leaving.
We're
taking this little girl, and we're getting out of this town. But what nobody has noticed is that Michael has stowed away on the bottom of the truck. How he got there, I have no idea. But he did. He's clinging to the bottom of the truck.
Yep.
So they're driving out to the substation. The cops, who Meeker called, the state police, are on their way. And they pass each other. There's a quick conversation where Earl informs the state police what's going on. That's when they get told they can go to a substation. And they start heading that way. And the cops are going on to deal with Michael. It's a fuck ton of them.
Yes.
And then, once they're past the cops, Michael just climbs up the back of the truck and starts killing the guys in the truck bed.
Yes. Like he does.
Yeah. There's 3 guys back there. Then there's 2 guys back there. Then there's 1 guy back there. Then there's no guys back there.
Yep.
Michael's just throwing them fucking overboard. Now, maybe they don't die. Maybe. It's possible.
Maybe, but Earl's going pretty fast.
Earl is going pretty fast. And Earl is next. Earl gets his neck ripped open and his head pulled off in a very gory reshoot sequence. And then it is just the girls in a moving vehicle. Rachel has to throw Earl out of the car and start driving.
Yep.
Michael headbutts the glass. Rachel slams on the brakes, throwing him forward. Rams into him. They slam into the woods. There's a tumble. Michael seems to be down for the count. Jamie goes to check it out, to make contact with her uncle. And then the cops show up and tell Jamie to get down. And
because as she's touching him, he's doing the Myers sit-up.
He's doing the Myers sit-up. They tell Jamie to get down, and they all open fire. Ben Meeker with a huge fucking shotgun. All these cops just blowing the shit out of Michael.
Well, see,
Michael dies.
I've wanted to see Ben fire that gun because it's the first gun he pulls out of his gun chest when he's gearing up for Michael.
And he uses it.
And it looks badass.
And it is. So they shoot the shit out of Michael Myers, and Michael Myers dies. Clearly. Falls down a well or something.
Pit. I don't know.
And then
we go to the Carruthers house.
We're back at the Carruthers house. And Sam's there, and Meeker's there, and the parents are back. The parents are safe. It's good. It's good. It's good. Everything's fine. It's fine. Sam's alive. It's fine. It's fine.
Michael Myers is in hell,
where he belongs. And Mrs. Carruthers is upstairs drawing a bath for her daughter, who's been through hell.
Yes.
And then we see the slits of eyes from a mask come down over the camera frame.
No.
And we see this tracking shot.
No.
That is just like the opening of Halloween 1.
No.
Yes. He's back.
No. No.
Reaches out just like before and grabs scissors. Not a knife, scissors. And the scissors come down, and they're stabbing the adoptive mom, Mrs. Carruthers, whose first name I do not know. Although someone called her Deborah on a forum, and I'm like, no.
I think her name's Darlene.
I don't know what it is, but it's not Deborah.
I know it's
Deborah. Is the mom in number 6. It's getting stabbed.
It's said when they're leaving to go to the party. That's like the only time in dialogue it's said, I think.
Right. So she's getting stabbed. Everybody downstairs hears the screaming. Meeker goes to take it down. Sam takes Meeker's gun and is about to shoot at what is clearly Michael Myers at the top of the steps, and he looks, and it's not Michael Myers. It is Jamie Lloyd. Breathing like Michael, wearing a bloody clown costume. The end. That's Halloween 4, folks. It's... The more I watch 2, the less I like it. The more I watch 3, the more I like it. 4, I like just as much as I always have. Still not my favorite.
Yeah.
But it's up there. It's an enjoyable watch, no matter what. And it's a simple movie. That's Halloween movies work best when it's a simple formula.
Yep.
When it tries to overcomplicate things, when it tries to build on other, premises, it gets to be too much. But here it works perfect. So, as always, best kill. What is it? I know.
This one's tough because they're either really, really good or suck.
Right.
Or really quick and you don't see them.
Exactly.
Or off camera.
Yes.
It's also we're either going to focus on the gore or we're going to leave everything up to your imagination.
Right.
So it's a weird dichotomy.
It really, really is.
I'm gonna Kelly.
Okay. With the shotgun through the chest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Earl.
Okay.
I like the gore in this moment. I think it's appropriate.
I enjoy it.
Worst kill.
Worst kill, I'm gonna say is
you can always go with an off camera if you.
I got an off camera one. I got a big off camera one. The police massacre.
Okay.
Because the station is fucked to hell. Like the actual set
would have
dressing.
liked to have seen that.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed. I'm gonna say the mechanic because it's an uninteresting kill, and we see it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not well handled like a John Carpenter Halloween 1 kill. It doesn't feel like a Halloween 4 kill. It doesn't feel like a Halloween 2 kill. It just feels like a...
It feels like a generic slasher kill.
Yeah. So yeah, that's yeah. So that brings us to Financial Corner.
This one has the biggest budget yet.
Oh yeah, what is it?
This one's a $5 million budget.
$5 million for a Halloween movie. Holy Hannah!
Well, I mean,
there's 3. It was like what, 2.5, 2.8, something like that.
2.5 for number 2.
Okay, yeah. So it's double the budget of the previous movie, which was a failure. Was it a failure?
Yep.
This one makes how much money? At $5 million.
$17,700,000.
So, how many times the budget would you say that is?
3 point something, like 3.7.
Okay, and Halloween 3 made how much more than how many times its budget was Halloween 3?
Halloween 3 was 7 times its budget.
So Halloween 3 is a failure, and Halloween 4 is a success.
Yes, and
I'm just saying.
Also, if you go by
tickets sold,
tickets sold.
Yeah,
Halloween 3 sold more tickets.
There you go, folks. See, that is what I was talking about last week, where the failure of Halloween 3 is a myth. It's a myth. It's not real. Mustafa Akkad made that up to delineate the old franchise from the new franchise, his stuff from John Carpenter's stuff. Now, it was to make Carpenter look bad.
Now, I also do know at the time, walking in the horror aisles of video rental places,
sure,
fans were disappointed.
Right.
When they rented it.
Sure. Disappointed. It's fun. Failure. No, I think. Halloween 4, however, is indeed a success, critically, and with fans. And it did make 3 times its budget. You know, it's a successful film.
It's a success in another way.
Yes.
Nationally, it was the number 1 movie.
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row.
Horror movies don't tend to do that. They tend to hit once and then back off.
Now, however, this does say a lot about the movies at the time.
Yes.
That were out there, because it was number 1 for 2 weeks and it only made $17 million.
Right.
6 of that was opening weekend.
Wow. So, okay. 17, 6 in opening weekend. It had a 2-week stint and then a drop off of like 30%, I think it was. Yeah. So, I mean, that's telling. That means its second week was actually stronger than its first, which is good. Yeah. I mean, that's word of mouth. I know I'm a huge fan of this one. I know you are too.
Yes.
So, final thoughts.
Final thoughts on this are, this movie got through so many nights when I had nothing to watch.
Yes. Yes, because you've watched this movie a shit ton.
I love this movie.
This is the one I watch whenever it's on AMC. I've watched... If I see Halloween 4 while I'm clicking past, I will watch Halloween 4.
Yes, me too.
I will just hang with this movie for the rest of its run. Even if I come in and there's 10 minutes left. And this one is just, it puts a smile on my face. Sam Loomis is kooky and weird. That scene with the weird, creepy preacher is like the most compelling scene in a horror movie. I love that character, even though he's only in 4 minutes of this movie. I want more of Jackson P. Sayer, and the Reverend who's hunting evil. I want more.
And just the idea that he's hunting a child.
Right. It's so creepy. And Danielle Harris really, as a young girl, really does own that role almost as thoroughly as Jamie Lee Curtis did Laurie Strode.
Yes.
There's a vulnerability, and a lot of that's natural because she is a child.
Yes.
But she brings a lot to it. And if the franchise stayed at this level, right here, I think, we'd be on like Halloween 20 right now. But we're not. And we're not because of what comes after. Because Mustafa Akkad, for all of his talk about loving Michael Myers and wanting to keep this franchise going, he wants money.
Yes.
And what he really wants is to turn Halloween into a perpetual moneymaker. Ironically, it does that on DVD and Blu-ray.
Yes.
When he sells the continual release rights for the VHS, DVD, Blu-ray combos to Anchor Bay, it becomes the money machine that he wanted it to be all along. But he tries the experiment of 1988, 1989. You make a movie in 1988, we're going to make a sequel immediately behind it in 1989.
Oh, a quick thing that bears mentioning on the future of the franchise.
Yes.
Mustafa Akkad was the producer. We've talked about that.
Yes.
In current day, his son, Malik.
Yes, Malik Akkad.
Malik Akkad is the controlling producer.
Yes.
Halloween 4 is the first time that Malik works on a Halloween film.
Yes, that's where it all kind of...
He is a production assistant on this flick.
Yes, he is.
I wanted to get that in.
I was going to bring him up in number 5 because he actually takes a producerial role in number 5. But yes, good point. So yeah, next week, Halloween 5. The rush to follow up to Halloween 4.
The Revenge.
Yes, less than a year later. The Revenge of Michael Myers. Next time, folks, we're going to look at arguably the worst Halloween movie. You know what? I'm going to inarguably the worst Halloween movie.
I'm going to go arguably because
I don't. Most people on the internet rank it the way I do, with Halloween 5 being right at the bottom.
Most people in my corner of the internet rank it at second to bottom.
Your corner of the internet is the HalloweenMovies.com message board. It's a niche crowd, sir.
Yes, but if you're going to go niche crowd, go the official message board.
That's true. But the rest of the internet tends to think that number 5 is a piece of shit, because number 5 is a piece of shit.
Oh, I'm not saying my corner doesn't think that.
And it outstrips the badness of Halloween Resurrection, of Halloween 2, of the Rob Zombies. And I like number 3. And number 6 is not nearly as bad. Number 6 is bad, but number 6 is not this bad. So, next time we will have this debate again. We'll do the whole thing. Number 5, does it suck? Is it good? It sucks, folks. Don't worry. You'll be on my side by the end of it.
You will totally think that it's better than Resurrection.
All right. For the Ark of E, we have been the Brothers Blanchard. I have been Matthew J. Blanchard.
I've been Patrick J. Blanchard.
And we have once again been paying the late fees so you don't have to.